समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
आप समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
The BJP is now targeting leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi for being away in Germany during the just concluded winter session of parliament. They've also accused him of meeting in Berlin an official they say is linked to Open Society's George Soros, somebody they claim is the enemy of India. In Rahul Gandhi's absence, it's been Priyanka Gandhi Vadra who's been holding the fort. Two headlines drew attention even of the ruling party. One was a light-hearted banter between Priyanka Gandhi and Nitin Gadkari, and then most recently, there seemed to be an affable, amiable conversation between Prime Minister Modi and Priyanka Gandhi as they sipped a cup of tea at a Chai Pe Charcha organized by Om Birla, the Lok Sabha Speaker. This has led to the inevitable comparisons and the million-dollar question. Is Priyanka a much more effective politician than her brother Rahul? I'm Barkha, you're with the Mojo story. On the program today, this Chai Pe Charcha, which saw Prime Minister Modi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra seeming to share a chuckle or two, a smile or two, a story or two. We believe she asked about the Prime Minister's foreign trips and also traded stories about special herbs that she was using from her parliamentary constituency of Wayanad in Kerala. But these images are unusual for a polarized environment. They're unusual for a time when there has been a breakdown of relations before this between the government and the opposition. This Chai Pe Charcha followed this meeting between Priyanka and Nitin Gadkari. It's a meeting she asked for from the floor of the House. Mr. Gadkari said his doors were open for her and she didn't even need an appointment. This has led to an inevitable comparison. Is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra a more effective opposition voice than her brother Rahul? Rahul Gandhi has come under attack from the BJP just today, not just for being away in the last few days of the winter session of parliament, but also, according to the BJP, for meeting an official in Berlin linked to George Soros, somebody the BJP says is against the interests of India. Mr. Gandhi himself has not reacted to that specific charge, but the big question for our program today is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra a better, more effective politician than Rahul Gandhi? Or is it quite clear that it is in fact Rahul Gandhi who calls the shots and Priyanka Gandhi merely steps in to fill those spaces for her brother like she once used to do when she hadn't joined active electoral politics and she would go campaigning for both her mother and her brother? What has changed? How has Priyanka Gandhi fared as a politician? Let me introduce our very interesting panel today as we look at this question. Tehseen Poonawala is with us. He is a Congress supporter, but sometimes criticizes the party. He's always been, though, a Priyanka Gandhi Vadra supporter. Good to see you, Tehseen. Shugata Srinivas Raju is with us, senior journalist and author. Always a pleasure to have you with us on the program. Senior journalist Aarti Jairat is with us. Seeing you after ages, Aarti. Welcome back. And Dilip Cherian, political analyst, brand guru, is with us as well. It's good to see you, Dilip, and great to have you on the program. I want to actually start by playing out a couple of these moments from Parliament that really got everybody's attention. Before the Chai Pe Charcha with the Prime Minister and Priyanka Gandhi was this appeal from Priyanka asking for time with Mr. Gadkari, and see how it transpired.
And may I also request you to grant me an appointment? I've been asking since June to talk about my constituency, sir.
मैडम आज क्वेश्चन आवर के बाद आप आ जाइए, कभी भी आइए, मेरा दरवाजा हर समय खुला रहता है, अपॉइंटमेंट लेने की भी जरूरत नहीं होती, आप कभी आइए.
So, and of course, the appointment then happens. You can see those pictures on your screen. And soon after, on the last day, the Chai Pe Charcha happens with Prime Minister Modi, Rajnath Singh, Priyanka Gandhi. They're all sipping a cup of chai. This used to be the politics we remember from, I don't know, a decade ago. It's rare to see this politics now. Tehseen, what do you make of it?
And thank you, Barkha. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Good evening to all the fellow panelists and happy festivities. And it's good. It's good to see Parliament function. It's good to see debate in Parliament, though I would have thought more issues should have been debated, particularly pollution. But it's good to finally see a Parliament that's functioning. And as I told you on your podcast when I was with you, that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra is the best speaker Congress has. And that's because she's bilingual. She speaks both in English and Hindi, and she thinks in Hindi. Now, before this Nitin Gadkari ji visuals and visuals with the Prime Minister, let me remind the viewers there was the Vande Mataram debate where Priyanka Gandhi spoke. And the BJP thought that they would trounce the Congress in the Vande Mataram debate. And I remember how Priyanka Gandhi, she just gets up and she's like, आपको एक दिन मैं स्पीकर महोदय से अनुमति लेते उनकी एक दिन हम पूरी तरह से नेहरू जी पे विस्तार से बात करेंगे जैसे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा एंड दीज आर लैंग्वेज आई एम कोटिंग जैसे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री की एक सूचना होती है कि हमने इतना उनका अपमान किया है हम नेहरू जी के भी निकाल देते एक दिन आप सारी आपकी भड़ास निकाल दीजिए नहीं the BJP was laughing. And then she said, फिर उसके बाद हम वर्तमान के मुद्दों पर बात करेंगे. Not a single English word, the way she said it, laughing. Even the speaker, who generally intervenes or interrupts when opposition speaking, was quiet. And that's how Parliament should function. You have to get them on the mat. Now, what we saw in this session from the Congress, at least from when Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was leading it, was maturity, was gravitas, was respect to the chair, and that's what people look for. Prior to starting the show, Aarti asked a question that there is food inflation, there is other problems. Why are people still not, they may complain, why is that not translating into a vote? And the reason is because there is the Tina factor. There is no alternative. People agree that there are problems, but people in India generally tend to see Prime Minister Modi as the person who's solving that problem. But believe me, the complaints are a lot. People are fatigued and people want the BJP out. But they want an alternative. I'm not saying this is too soon, this is too small, this is only a preview. I'm not saying that she's suddenly an alternative. Remember, Prime Minister Modi has not been out of government or out of power for 25 years. This is maybe a 30-minute performance. So you can't compare the two. I'm not going to do that. But if there is a credible alternative, one that raises current issues, speaks with respect, speaks with gravitas, is friendly, can build bridges, I think Indian politics then and Indian democracy then is in a good time.
What do you think she did different from her brother in this exact situation that we're seeing unfold on the screen? Because of course, in the past, Rahul Gandhi walked across, he hugged the Prime Minister on the floor of the House, but that was seen to be more cheeky and political and less relaxed. This comes across as way more sort of organic.
She is. I'll give you two instances. When I was in Amethi, there was in the 2014 elections, a failed poet / nowadays he preaches on religion, which is great, contesting against Rahul Gandhi. And he was one of those guys in the fraud Anna movement. I use this word fraud Anna movement, but a lot of deliberately. I'm not misquoting.
You are referring to Kumar Vishwas.
I only name people who I think are politically relevant. Anyways, the point is this poet was contesting and his people were shouting slogans against Rahul Gandhi. And I remember Priyanka Gandhi, the cars were going. I was in a car behind as well. She stops. She sees these people. She immediately knows they're not from Amethi. She gets down. She starts talking to them. She tells her then secretary. Her secretary then was a lady that immediately please arrange some water and snacks for these people because they've come from outside Amethi. And all of them suddenly forget that they are cheering for this poet. They're all taking selfies with her. That's her charm. I remember when the Prime Minister said कि देश को चलाने के लिए 56 इंच का सीना चाहिए. Her retort was 56 इंच का सीना नहीं, आपको दिल चाहिए भारत को चलाने के लिए. She thinks on her feet. She thinks in Hindi. She is also genuinely, on most times, a warm person. If you know that connect is there, and she doesn't get rattled. The problem is the other leaders of the Congress tend to get a little rattled, or they're too elitist or leftist, and that tends to become out of touch with people of India.
So it's very interesting thing you've said that she seems more grounded, she seems more rooted. There's still a number of tough questions to be asked. Among them, is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra ready to be a 24/7 politician? What are her ideologies more to the center than to the left, something you've often criticized the Congress for. There were a lot of eyebrows raised by both fans and critics when she carried a Palestine bag to Parliament. More recently, she's been tweeting about the rights of Hindus in Bangladesh. So we don't yet have a full understanding of where her ideological positioning is centered. That's all I'm saying.
But,
you want to
but
say
she
something?
took the
I want to open it
Bangladesh,
up.
yeah, but she also took a Bangladesh bag the next day. The
I
Bangladesh
agree.
bag, Hindus.
That's
So,
correct.
and I have always told her and her husband, the idea is center. Congress has to be the large tent. I understand Congress will have to be left of center. I totally get it. Even BJP economically left of center. They can't move away from that. But be centrist. You can't be as left as some of these leaders in the Congress presently are. And in fact, in Bihar, one of the people advising the Congress was a left CPI leader. And that's a disaster waiting to strike.
Okay, that's a lot more on that coming up. Let's get first reactions to what we've seen play out in Parliament. Dilip, let me come to you. The Congress is saying that Rahul Gandhi skipped a similar tea at the end of the monsoon session because that session had been very acrimonious when it came to the government and the opposition. And Priyanka Gandhi attended this chai because things were more functional in this session of Parliament. That said, a number of other people are saying, well, it would have been a different energy had it been Mr. Gandhi. The inevitable comparisons between the brother and the sister are being drawn. How do you see it?
The comparisons between Rahul and Priyanka tend to be based, unfortunately, on people's own personal perceptions of these people and less based on the political moves that they are making. That's one. That's my impression. The second thing is that, in general, Priyanka's big advantage is that she thinks in Hindi and can actually spontaneously react without the need of either getting angry or grandstanding. And that is the second advantage he has. The third is that because she is not, in a sense, the leader of the party, she tends to take a lot more of the jibes far more lightly. And the only time that you'll see her react is when it's a dig at the family. She tends to take most of the other kind of criticisms on her chin or brush it off lightly, which is a huge advantage. And also perhaps because she is a woman, she knows and has the advantage of being able to use charm, which Rahul Gandhi should have had and can exercise with, especially with the ladies in the room, but he doesn't choose to do it as often as he could. That's the third point I'd make. But in general, let me say that at the moment, the way we see it, Priyanka is really the one who is playing masterfully in Parliament, and that has worked to the huge advantage of the party in general.
Okay, let me take that larger point to you, Shugata. One of the things that you've always argued is the problem that the Congress has, and maybe this goes to Aarti's point about why are people not talking about inflation? Why are we talking about Vande Mataram instead of talking about air pollution, etc., etc.? One of the things you've argued is that the Congress doesn't have a good, cogent narrative. Now, Priyanka Gandhi may be a more comfortable persona, may come across as more socially comfortable, but the problem for the party applies to her too. What is the story? Right. What is your story? What is the story that you're bringing to the voter? Do you think charm, amiability shields her and the party from those questions?
Thank you, Barkha. And I mean, I think you've hit the nail on its head, Barkha. I mean, this charm aspect of thinking in Hindi or, looking elegant or, being that charm offensive, all that is fine. But still the party, the party system is still what it is. And the party still does not have a narrative. The expectation is so low that, one small little smile that was exchanged between the Prime Minister and Priyanka Gandhi becomes a headline. That's the sad story of Indian democracy and then the opposition as well, and then the relationship between the opposition and the ruling party. So, mean, but having said that, the if one tends to compare, I don't think it's a fair thing to compare between Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi, because they are very thick. Their relationship is quite solid, and they're also quite they exhibit that relationship. It's not that they sort of keep it under wraps or whatever. They're very, very physical in public. The emotion is there to be seen. So having said that, I've argued in my book, I've compared the processes of reconciliation of Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, and Priyanka Gandhi to the pains of the family, or the past of the family. I think Priyanka has reconciled with all that far better. There is less anger. There is a greater degree of, accommodation. And, there is a sense of humor and sarcasm and irony, which she deploys with great, aplomb. You saw that, you played the Gadkari clip. When she's appealing to Gadkari, there's a very important line. She says, I've been asking for an appointment from June. So, so she's finally pinning him down on the floor of the house. And he says, you don't even need an appointment, you can just walk in. So, there are certain devices and techniques and strategies that she deploys, which Rahul Gandhi is completely incapable of. Now, Rahul Gandhi, she certainly brings a certain kind of positive energy to a room that she walks into. And Rahul Gandhi has not reconciled with a lot of things. Rahul Gandhi, although speaks so much about hate and anger and all of that, he's still somebody caught in the web of all of that. He's still not able to sort of come out of all of that. So I think,
you believe Rahul is more embittered, if I may use that word, than Priyanka?
Think so, yes. And she has raised 2 kids, Barkha. That makes all the difference. It's not very easy being a mother. It's not very easy raising 2 kids. And I think she has had to do a lot of things in raising those 2 kids, which I think comes naturally to her, which she brings to the public place. And I think that's interesting.
So,
but still, Barkha, one last point. The most important thing is that the very fact that we are trying to compare the two, that is, I think, she is the final split that Prime Minister Modi has been referring to in the Congress. So, that is the final split.
If it ever happens, but there's no sign. There is no sign or evidence of that yet. It's important to underscore what you did, that the brother and the sister are not competing. But
these visuals and pushing them and that becoming news is in itself the kind of split that the ruling party would like to see inside the Congress.
Okay, so you're saying these comparisons suit the BJP in a way. I just want to pick up, before I come to Aarti, somebody in our audience, one of our regular viewers, Prasad says, Barkha, PGV showed maturity, humor, sarcasm, and yet was aggressive in her political assertions. There was not a tinge of sourness or vengeance in her speech, which are very common in Rahul's. This is Shugata's point about, she doesn't come across as angry. That said, the media has been doing this Priyanka story for years now, for maybe 10, 12, 15 years, about how she's so much more comfortable, she has more people skills. All of this has been said before, but she seems to come and go into public attention, and nobody knows, is that a personal choice? Is that because that's the role the party allows her? What do you make of it, Aarti?
Barkha, I think everybody's made very valid points about Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra. Look, the fact is that Priyanka Vadra is a lot like her father. Her father was a very charming man. He had a lot of personal charm, a lot of charisma. And Priyanka, I think, has the same. If you remember, Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi used to be socially very awkward through those years. And it was very interesting to see how she changed once she came into politics and, gained that ease with politicians like Lalu Yadav, who came from a completely different background to her, but she learned over the years. Unfortunately, I haven't seen Rahul go through that learning process yet. And he remains as socially awkward as he used to be. And, when you compare it to his much more charming and, charismatic sister, he really, it's a very unfair comparison to draw. But, if we're talking about being an effective political leader, I mean, I think Priyanka still has to be tested, Barkha. We have not really seen her in action. The couple of times that we have seen her in action, for instance, in UP, when she was handed charge of UP, and she ran the, that sort of, what is that, Ladki, Maybe Ladki Hu campaign,
Sorry, ladkiyu lad sakti ho. Sorry, ladkiyu lad
Ladki
sakti
Hu
ho.
Lad Sakti Ho, that's right. Now, that campaign seemed to catch the imagination. But after that, Priyanka just faded out. She
Well,
didn't
that's my
pursue it.
point.
She
And
did not.
my point is she seems to
This
flit
is
in and
exactly
out
the
of
point.
politics.
Yes, that's right. She keeps flitting in and out of politics, much actually like Rahul Gandhi. This is the accusation that is leveled against Rahul Gandhi too. That is he a serious politician? Is he a reluctant politician? You see him, then you don't see him. And similarly with Priyanka, it's very much like that. Now, I mean, Priyanka's skills with mass audiences have also been, have been very visible. If you remember Sonia Gandhi's first election campaign in 1999, when she fought from Karnataka, I mean, it was actually Priyanka who won that election for Sonia Gandhi. She landed up there, she got onto a van, she, smiled at people, she waved at them, she spoke a few words of Kannada, and she actually, won that election for Sonia Gandhi. Sonia Gandhi was still at that very awkward phase, in her political life. So, she has that mass connect with people, but does she have the political skill, the political ability, the, that canny sense that say Indira Gandhi had? So far, we have not yet seen that being tested. Some of her choices.
Sorry.
Some of her choices actually have not been particularly great. For instance, when Navjot Singh Sidhu was made president of the Congress Party in 2021, apparently Priyanka had a big say in that. And it was a disastrous choice. I mean, they handed the state over to the Aam Aadmi Party. Remember, the Aam Aadmi Party came in with a huge majority in 2022.
Yeah.
So, I think we have to really reserve judgment on Priyanka as a politician. But what she does certainly have is personality, charm. She has the ability to connect with the masses, and she has that wit. I mean, the way she put the Prime Minister on the mat for his obsession with Nehru and, circling, bringing everything back to Nehru. I mean, it was done, as they say in Hindi, with meethi chuni. It was.
Yeah. But I mean, it certainly made following conversations in Parliament more fun. Also is nice. And it's also nice that banter can end with a cup of tea in the Speaker's office. But I think Aarti makes an excellent point that I want to first bring to you, Tehseen, and then to Dilip and Sugata. Yes, charm, no doubt. Yes, charisma, no doubt. Yes, wit, humor, using irony, presence. I think all of us agree on that. But I think 2 points have been made in this program. 3, in fact. Dilip's point, how you see Rahul and Priyanka depends on your own personal perception. Sugata, what's the Congress story? And Aarti, Priyanka is not just untested. A couple of political projects that she's led, whether in UP or this choice of Navjot Singh Sidhu in Punjab, have actually boomeranged. And I'll add a last one. Rahul Gandhi still seems to be the main character of this movie called the Congress Party. Priyanka seems to come in for cameos. I don't know that she's committing her entire life to politics, or is there some other factor that keeps her in this? Sometimes she's there, sometimes she's not there. Tehseen, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I think wonderful points made by all the fellow panelists. So let's take each one together. we all agree on the charm. I'll tell a quick story. I remember the late Satish Sharma telling me that he was all set to lose to Arun Nehru. I think Aarti must have covered that election and Sugata, you all must have covered that election. He was all set to lose to Arun Nehru. Priyanka was 13 or 14. She wrote a speech on a paper and she came and said, and she had this emotional connect that Aarti spoke about, where she said, Dekho, इन्होंने मेरे पापा को धोखा दिया है कि आप इनको जिताओगे. And that's how, the election turned around and Captain Satish Sharma won. And Satish Sharma, God bless him, has told me the story himself of how it turned around. Aarti told the Karnataka story and I told you the Methi story. In fact, I think her most viral moment, and I'm not saying this to flatter you, but Barkha, was her interview with you. It showed, I really mean it, on your previous channel, it showed empathy, it showed kindness, it showed vulnerability, it showed strength, and I think it showed so many facets of a person. Having said all that, as Sugata Das said, each person will look at it from their lens, their point of view. I am biased towards her. I am, so I do want to see her succeed, so I'm seeing it from that point of view. But what is the reality? The reality is you're fighting a machine, the BJP, that is right now planning for 2034. You're fighting Amit Shah ji, Nadda ji, Bhupender Yadav ji, and to top it all, Narendra Modi ji, who are in this mood 24/7. They may not be great in governance. Bhupender Yadav ji, for the viewers, is the Environment Minister of India. But there's 24/7, and Dharmendra Pradhan, they're 24/7 managing elections. The Congress is in a slumber mode. Some of the choices, it's not just Navjot Singh Sidhu, who I've always on your show also told was a disaster from day one, and I stick to that, and I've been proved correct, including his including his wife. She's come back, and I wish her the best of health, including his wife, etc. But also choices of some people going to the Rajya Sabha who were absolute loonies of the first order are attributed to her, though I don't know what the reality is. And we lost Milind Deora. We should have had Milind Deora in the Rajya Sabha. I'm very clear on that. Having said that, I think the Congress is so desperate at this point to give some sort of an opposition, or those who are anti-BJP, that they're latching onto straws. This is a good first half a step. It's not even a first step. It's great half a step. Ultimately, the test of the pudding is when you can convert those people who are upset with the BJP, as Aarti was telling me, into votes. And for that, you'll have to stick to the issues. For that, you'll have to raise the issues, fight for the issues. And in this session, let me be very critical of the Congress. Today, Mrs. Gandhi did a video bite upon Manrega being changed. Manrega was Mrs. Gandhi's dream project, or her dream scheme. When the Manrega was passed as VG Ramji scheme, every other political party stayed late night in parliament fighting and sitting on the steps. The TMC was there for 12 hours in that cold. Congress Rajya Sabha went home. They went home. I'm not making this up. They were not there. They should have been there. Even somebody like a Sanjay Singh, who's a one MP in Aam Aadmi Party, because the other MP is too busy doing his own things and flirting with the BJP at the moment, wanting to go there. So even Sanjay Singh was...
You mean Raghav Chadha?
Whoever. But the point is that Sanjay Singh was also fighting out there in that biting cold, except for the Congress. Unless you don't fight on the ground. Now to the last point, she hasn't succeeded in UP. Yes, because she didn't have resources. I firmly believe that. She didn't have an organization. But where she did lead the charge, that is Himachal and Karnataka, the Congress succeeded. In Karnataka, the Congress has a good organization. She led it. In Himachal, she led it without an organization that was in fighting. The BJP was in fighting with very little resources, with Baghel, Sachin Pilot, and Rajiv Shukla. So where she's got an opportunity, a limited opportunity, her track record is, I would say, about 50-50. 60-40 in her favor. I agree UP is a blot, but she will have to get down and prove her electoral success. Most importantly, don't get distracted by agendas that are not the agendas of the country. Industrialists, SIR in the middle of an election, these are not the agendas of the country. On Vande Mataram, again I repeat, where the BJP thought they would trounce the Congress, the BJP got no mileage. On SIR, where the Congress thought it trounced the BJP, the Congress lost badly, the BJP scored their goals. And that's how Parliament functioned.
So, of course, you're saying Rahul's sort of fixation on Adani is an issue, SIR is an issue, continue
Caste census.
Caste census, and in every election he's had a pet issue that hasn't translated electorally. But just to shake things up a bit in this conversation, let me argue this for a moment, not from Rahul Gandhi's side as much as Dilip, to ask you, because Rahul Gandhi gets all the flack and is the leader and is the person picking the issues and then is made accountable for the loss of the elections, there is also an argument that could be made that Priyanka isn't actually held accountable for the performance of the party. So in a sense, she can come in, be amiable, make the speeches, step back, because she's not actually being pinned down for the series of defeats. It's always Rahul Gandhi who's held accountable for the defeats. To that extent, Aarti's point that she's untested is very true.
There are two aspects to politics. One is winning at the polls, and the second is playing the politics. And the fact is that Rahul Gandhi has been very good at the polling phases, and his aggression is actually what wins the Congress a little bit of the votes. He does tend to make mistakes. He does tend to shoot off on issues which are not relevant to that vote, to that particular election. And those are electoral errors that he makes. But leading from the front and having a great relationship with partners and with those on his side is something that is visible from him. Priyanka is also excellent at that. On the choice of people, I think, and that is again a crucial part, that's the politics part of politics, as I call it. I think his choices are in many cases as flawed as Priyanka's have been, and we don't need to get into the details because that will divert the dialogue somewhere else. But both the brother and sister are clearly not great at selecting people or reading people in a medium term as far as being partners with them is concerned. So I think they're equal on that. Rahul scores a lot more on the streets and in the in the heat of battle, and tends to vanish immediately after that because he needs a break. And Priyanka scores much higher in parliament. So in some sense, if one looks at the imagery they are creating, Priyanka is a parliamentary debater with the ability to score the points that matter, and not necessarily with any level of anger. And Rahul is the man for the manning the barriers and getting the votes that can come through when the organization also has the strength on the ground. Neither of them has spent a very large part of time, and this is crucial, in actually organization building on a daily, regular basis. As we've all said, both of them choose to play cameo parts in the grander play of the Congress party, as you said, Barkha. In that play, both of them are unfortunately constantly and correctly accused of playing cameo roles. The motives may be different, where they vanish to may be different, but I think essentially we still don't have what I would call a full-time Gandhi in charge.
I think that's absolutely accurate, actually. And before I come to Sugata, I saw Tehseen disagreeing, I think. You want a brief interjection there? Yeah.
On a brief, just on one point with Dilip, I think the problem with the Congress until now, particularly after 2014, after Prime Minister Manmohan Singh went, is they haven't been able to, as you rightly said, not only build an organization, but they haven't been able to get in new voters who in 2009 or old voters in 2009 voted Congress. They've become so left and so out of touch that time after time after time after time after time after time, it's exhausting how out of touch they are and how they're living in a parallel reality. And in these 10 years, I've seen the Congress get destroyed in Assam, Haryana, not return to government, Assam, Haryana. It's over in West Bengal, it's over in Odisha, it's over in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar before my time, and now it's getting irrelevant in Maharashtra. Now, Dilip, the math. If you're not going to win in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, West Bengal, these are the four big states. Where are your Lok Sabha numbers coming from? 80 Uttar Pradesh, 48 Maharashtra, 40 Bihar, and 42 West Bengal. How many of these can the Congress get without an alliance on their own?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point. I think none of this actually matters in the end, Sugata, unless you're going to win elections. And I think Dilip also has an excellent point. There is no full-time Gandhi in charge. And that is very much the sense that the family doesn't necessarily believe in full-time politics, but the BJP's top two leaders certainly do.
Barkha, yes, I mean, I agree partially with what Dilipji said, but Tehseen forgot to mention Karnataka. See, they're also going to lose Karnataka now. The kind of daily ramblings that we see, and the kind of the kind of war is open now. Yesterday on the floor of the House, Sidramaya has contradicted his deputy. His deputy comes out of the temple and he says that no, there is a pact with the High Command. So this whole High Command business is drowning the Congress in Karnataka too. So that's an addition to what Tehseen just said. But having said that, Barkha, I see the major problem with the Congress party, ever since Modi has become very dominant in the Indian political scene, is that they have kept wondering, theoretically, what should be its political identity. It is that question from 2014 on. Rahul Gandhi did not even think about that question for about 3-4 years. But then from 2017 on, if one looks at the chronology of it, started thinking about what should be the political identity of the Congress party. So he tried to do some soft Hindutva first, and then he tried to sort of, acquiesce himself to the upper caste arguments. And then he finally slid towards social justice and caste census. And then, what finally has come at vote chori. So this whole thing is something in which Priyanka has never participated. She has never participated in giving the Congress its identity. That is where Aarti's point becomes very, very relevant, because she has not contributed to the thinking of the party. This organization has changed beyond recognition in the last 10 years, and that organization is completely under the thumb of Rahul Gandhi. Not even a Kharge, not even a Sonia Gandhi anymore. See, for instance, I think Tehseen mentioned about the Manrega thing. See, Manrega was a legacy of Sonia Gandhi. It was in all the election campaigns, if you heard, people would say that she has given employment, this is the legacy of Sonia Gandhi ji and all that. But what happened in Parliament 2 days ago? Who was fighting to retain it? It was Mamata Banerjee, not Sonia Gandhi. Right? And so now you see all these images of Priyanka Gandhi with Nitin Gadkari, Priyanka Gandhi with Om Birla and Modi ji and Rajnath Singh ji. But is anybody speaking about how the ground beneath their feet has been completely taken away? See, 3 years down the line, people will not even remember that there was a Manrega. And once Manrega is not there, you won't even have any legacy to count as your own. So there's nothing else left. So Priyanka, despite her charm, despite her affable charm, I don't think she has contributed anything to the Congress yet. So to the ideological mold, or to the kind of frame that is being created about what the Congress is, its political identity, she is nowhere in the picture there.
I think that's a very incisive point, Aarti, because Congress's current positioning is shaped by Rahul Gandhi. I think there's no question about that. And from what we can tell, Priyanka and Sonia go along. They do defer to the decision-making of Mr. Gandhi. I mean, I can't prove this for sure, but that is certainly the impression. And I think Shugata's point is an important one. Maybe there will be another time sort of reins in her hand, but at the moment she doesn't. And we simply also do not know, and this is to Tehseen's point, whether she would be any more centrist than her brother if he is seen to be leaning far too left by many Congress supporters.
Well, firstly, Barkha, I think this whole thing of left and right, I mean, honestly, do these terms matter anymore today? I mean, what is left? The way the Modi government is doing social welfare schemes.
No, I think it quite simply means that
pretty much left, right?
Prithviraj Chavan, for example, not known to be a motor mouth, is suddenly going hammer and tong on Operation Sindoor against the army. Like it is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. But I'm saying
as an example.
Let's not talk about left and right, because I think that line has been blurred a long time ago. So let's not talk about left and right. But yes, the BJP certainly has a much clearer identity. I think Sugata's put it very, very well. They do have a narrative. it may be a mix of many things. There may be some sort of, Hindutva and social welfare and all that. But there is a narrative, and they keep picking up different strands depending on the occasion or when it suits them. The Congress does not have a clear narrative. Now, while I think the one achievement that Rahul has had, which we have to give him credit for, is that he has managed to draw the linkage between this government and the two A's. So if you go out on the streets and talk to the common man, they joke and say that, "Haan, ye to Adani ko dena hai, ye to Ambani ko dena hai." That linkage he's managed to draw. But having said that, beyond that, what is the next step for the Congress? You may talk about oligarchs ruling India today, but what is your alternative vision?
And as Arvind Kejriwal back in the day learned the hard way, if you remember those times when he would target industrialists,
that's right.
It has to be able to change for it to be effective politics, the way people vote. If it is not changing the way people vote, even if they make a joke about it, it's a non-issue for them.
It's a non-issue, exactly. Now, I think, again, when SIR first started in Bihar, I think people were pretty panic-stricken, that their votes were going to be taken away. But ultimately, when Aadhaar became acceptable as an identity document, all that settled down. So there was really not much point in doing that voter adhikar yatra that Rahul did. And then he did that, and then he vanished from Bihar. What happened to the rest of the campaign? This is the problem with the Congress, both Priyanka and with Rahul. They start with something, but they don't complete it. And, when you see the way the BJP function, it's not just Amit Shah and Modi. Of course, they are 24/7 politicians, but it's everyone down the line, right down to the worker. They are out on the ground working for the party all the time. Does the Congress have anybody like that? Anybody at all? It doesn't. And there are some remnants of that organization, like in Karnataka and so on, which on the basis of which they're surviving. Again, maybe Kerala, they may win Kerala this time. I don't know. The local polls were certainly very
good for them.
A morale booster for them. But those are remnants. What has this new generation of Gandhis added to that? They've not added anything to that. And without building an organization, and without having a clear-cut, political position, which is attractive, which strikes, it has resonance with voters, you're really not going to get anywhere. You can be charming, you can be angry, you can be whatever, but, that's not enough in politics, I'm afraid.
I think so. What's your story? How do you position yourself against the BJP?
And organization.
Organization.
That is very, the BJP has not just its own organization, it has the entire RSS machinery working for it. So it's got like two sets of workers who are out there campaigning for the party when elections come around.
Okay,
Congress,
before we
used to have a Sevadal once upon a time. You remember? It's vanished.
Yeah.
It used to have a youth congress once upon a time, which is vanished.
And actually, to Tessie's point, that where Priyanka had an organization, she did better. I think somebody else, maybe to Shugata or Dilip, somebody else made the point that they have to commit themselves to building the organization. As younger next-gen leaders of Congress, what if they added to the Congress? Before we take last comments, the BJP today held a press conference lashing out at Rahul Gandhi, one for skipping the last few days of Parliament, two for who he met in Berlin. I'm just going to play this out and then come back for final comments. Take a look.
नेता प्रतिपक्ष जिनकी प्रमुख जिम्मेदारी भारत की राजनीति में और जब संसद का सत्र चल रहा था तो संसद में रहने की थी, लेकिन वो विदेशी भूमि पर जर्मनी जाते हैं और जर्मनी में हर्टी स्कूल है, वहां पर मिलते हैं कॉर्नेलिया वॉल। ये तस्वीर लेके मैं आया हूं। राहुल गांधी और जॉर्ज सोरेस ये ऐसे ही है जैसे दो जिस्म एक जान। ऐसा क्यों है कि राहुल गांधी जब भी संसद का सत्र शुरू होने जा रहा होता है या चल रहा होता है तो विदेशी धरती पर जाते हैं और जो भारत के शत्रु हैं, जो भारत से ईर्ष्या करते हैं, हमारी अखंडता पे प्रहार करते हैं, उनके साथ मिलते हैं, बातचीत करते हैं। ये कौन सा एजेंडा है भारत विरोधी कि भारत का नेता प्रतिपक्ष ऐसी शक्तियों से मिलके भारत के खिलाफ षड्यंत्र कर रहा है?
Okay, so that's the BJP press conference. Two things there. Why does he go abroad? And then he's gone abroad and he's met with somebody the BJP says is linked to George Soros, who's anti-India. Now, I'm just putting that out there because Tehseen has this point about left and right. He also has this point about, Rahul and Priyanka and the lead taking the Congress too much in the direction of the left. Tehseen, you have a quick point to make just on this Soros point, and then I'll take final comments all around.
If those in charge of the Congress's perception battle would spend less time on calling up journalists speaking about me and gossiping about me, and would have hit back in 10 seconds with images of the most honorable Prime Minister with Nirav Modi, in 10 seconds with the images of the most honorable Prime Minister meeting Jeremy Corbyn, these so-called Einstein-looking people who not even know Jeremy Corbyn was and what he said about Kashmir to India, and the Prime Minister, as Prime Minister, had a one-on-one meeting with him, the Congress would have been better served. But the problem is they're more bothered gossiping about who can ever be a challenger to them rather than bothering about saving their bosses. That's the problem. The problem is, and I'll address with a Karnataka example. Assume Modi ji would have made some charge of something going wrong. And in a state where the BJP was in government, BJP would have turned heaven and hell upside down to prove that charge. The first press conference, I'm not talking about the second press conference of Rahul ji, I'm talking the first press conference of Rahul ji with vote chori was regards to Karnataka. The first press conference. Till date, not a single FIR has been filed. Those BLOs are state government employees. When I go on TV, what do I say? That why is the Karnataka? It's not that Gyaneshwar Kumar may or may not have been involved is a separate issue. If that corruption has happened, it's happened at a local level. They're state government employees. Not even a notice has gone. Now, this is allegations made by your most senior leader. The same in Rafael. That's what's happened. His closest man is a guy who goes up. His closest man at one time, who I spoke about you both on and off record, is a guy who went about recording people, recording a minister, allegedly, in Tamil Nadu. You know what happened. You all know the story.
No, please tell us the story.
There was a story that there was somebody who's recording a minister in Tamil Nadu. That's the story. It's a media story. I don't know how true or false it is. Allegedly, there's a story that there is some expert who recorded a minister. That's the story in the news.
And then what happened?
The DMK is upset about it. He wanted to contest elections. Sugata ji is smiling. He may perhaps know who that gentleman. I don't know because I'm politically naive. But I've told that some Tamil Nadu media, some Tamil Nadu minister was recorded and then asked why you record. This so-called expert said, I record people to go back and hear the conversation. He also lied about some media people calling him up and said the conversation didn't happen. Even they produced the proof. So if these are the kind of people that are there, there's another Duggal Saab who kept saying SIR is, who kept saying the entire nation, even BJP के वोटर भी बहुत चिंतित है SIR से, और फिर जैसे चुनाव का नतीजा है, SIR कोई चुनाव का मुद्दा नहीं है. What do you do about such people? That's the problem.
Who are you holding responsible for giving these people the power that they enjoy?
I'm saying the Congress has to look at it, because in any other circumstances, if these were the press conferences made by the BJP, where is the Congress press conference of the pictures of the Prime Minister with Nirav Modi? Where is the pictures with Jeremy Corbyn? Where are those pictures? You hit back. I'm not saying you'll win the perception battle. I'm saying सामने वाला 5 मारता है 2 तो मारो उनको, तो ठीक हो गए. If you're going to bother about gossiping, you won't win.
Okay, let's get in last comments, Shugata, on the larger point. Aarti says left, right is blurred. These labels don't mean anything to voters. But there is a certain commonsensical middle ground sentiment that most people have. And I think Tehseen's point has always been that the Congress is lurching away from that median sentiment. But anyway, Karnataka.
Yeah, I mean, Karnataka, the fact that they have not been able to resolve this conflict between Siddaramaiah, who's a powerful leader, and DK Shivkumar, shows the ability of the High Command to handle any kind of pressure or any kind of complex situation. See, that aside, Barkha, I don't want to add to the conspiracy theories that BJP puts out every day, but the most sad part is that the ground is being taken away from beneath you, and you're in Germany, and your whole legacy is being turned upside down, and you're not there to defend it. And I mean, it is such a big earth-shaking thing for the Congress that he should have come back to actually protest. Sonia Gandhi, if she had sat doing a dharna in Parliament, I think the whole thing would have changed overnight. So nobody is there to sort of tell them what to do, or probably there's a kind of communication gap, or there is too much of sycophancy that people don't wish to sort of instruct their own high command. So and on the left and right thing, Barkha, my understanding is that the Congress is being eaten up both by the right and the left. For the longest period, that Sitaram Yechury was one of his grandest advisors, and then Yogendra Yadav, and then now Deepankar Bhattacharya. So I mean, the left has 0.67% vote share across India, and that left, which now needs a cadre or a presence, is now cannibalizing on the Congress and capturing the Congress. And if the Congress does not even understand this, then it's a sorry state of affairs. Rahul Gandhi should have, in a very positive sense, been a little more pragmatic and flexible. And that flexibility comes only if you're at the center. And that thing is that center is a golden middle, which has to be defined in a very beautiful way. He speaks so much about Buddha and spiritualism. He knows what the middle path is. That kind of a philosophical middle is something that he should have worked on, not swing to the left and swing to the right and being eaten up by both. Yeah.
Dilip, do you agree? Sorry.
One last thing. I don't know if I should name the person that
please
was.
Name. Please do.
Yeah, the minister.
I don't know who it is.
PTR. And the person who was recording was the person who was chosen by Rahul Gandhi, given him that kind of place in the Congress, which is Praveen Chakravarti. I think Praveen Chakravarti. I mean, this is what I hear. Is Praveen
the same person who said Rafael is the most important issue? There is no other. Is he the same data? Is he the person?
No, you know better.
I don't know. I told you I'm very bold. I have no idea.
I feel very sad.
I think the ministers. I think PTR as the minister's identity was well known because those tapes were leaked.
I'm asking Tehseen should confirm this Praveen Chakravarti thing. I'm putting it on.
Tehseen, please confirm.
I really don't. Barkha, I'm so out of touch with politics. I'm just living my own life. I really am not in touch.
Very clever. Very clever.
I just a bird told me something.
That's a clever duck.
I felt really sad because PTR was one of the finest voices of kind of liberal politics in the South and in India, and he was emerging, and he was completely cut short by this whole thing. It's absolutely funny the way it happened.
But what would be the reason to do such a thing?
No, that's a $1 million question.
I think Dilip wants to
Rajya Sabha seat, or trying to conquest for a Rajya Sabha seat. We don't know.
Dilip.
Reason number one was stupidity. Reason number two was attempting to pole vault. And the most important thing is that Tehseen knows all of this. It's wonderful to bring it out. It makes for great television, just as great television as this. Aarti pointed out one thing. Actually, this rubbish about left or right has got nothing to do with Congress politics. A lot of so-called criticism of the Congress politics hinges on the fact that they are all left-leaning. The BJP is actually far more left-leaning as far as its politics is concerned, except for the cronyism which it displays quite consistently also. But if you ask me, I don't think that is the issue. The issue today is that both brother and sister are not spending enough time as they should on organization building. Both brother and sister are immensely together. So at the moment, the BJP very clearly, using the messaging from Parliament, etc., is also running this trope that they want to create a kind of difference between brother and sister, hoping that this will play out at this point of time. But that also is just part of the larger narrative management that the BJP does even today. And I think most of us will understand why I'm using the phrase even today.
Yeah. One thing, Aarti, that we haven't spoken about is that Prashant Kishor met Priyanka Gandhi recently, which has also raised a certain degree of speculation. How did you see that meeting? If I ask Tessin, he'll say he knows nothing because he's so far removed from politics. So I'm asking you.
No, but honestly, Barkha, I really don't know what to make of that. Is Prashant Kishor clutching at straws, or is the Congress Party clutching at straws? It's like, as I think Sugata put it very well. You move from Sitaram Yechuri to Yogendra Yadav, and then to Dipankar Bhattacharjee, and now Prashant Kishor all over again. I really think the Congress's essential problem, really essential problem, is that both brother and sister have to spend much, much more time on the ground with the people. If they pick up an issue in a particular area, they must leave that footprint behind, through people who will take that issue forward and make it into a people's issue. If you don't do that, then you are not going to get anywhere in politics. Rahul Gandhi goes, he says some good things. Actually, if you look at it, he has some good ideas. But, that has to translate into reality on the ground. And who's going to take his message forward? He doesn't have a cadre who can actually rouse people. You remember the days, Barkha, when, people used to be out on the streets, leading movements, holding protest demonstrations. Now, I don't know what has happened. Either they've all just become armchair politicians because it's so much easier to tweet or give a soundbite on television. Much like many journalists have become armchair journalists. We don't go out anymore the way you went out during COVID, Barkha. How many journalists went out like that? So you see, the fact is that if you are not out on the streets among the people, just making a jalebi somewhere in a sweet shop is not enough. You have to pick up an issue and you have to take that issue forward, and you've got to lead people, with that issue, and some party workers who will translate that issue into, politics. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
I think that is absolutely the bottom line that we can all agree on. Tehseen, do you want a 30-second there before we close?
Just imagine, and I always give this example, two restaurants. One's called BJP, one's called Congress. Now, the BJP restaurant, the head chef is Narendra Modi, the sous chefs Amit Shah, Jai Shankarji, Nirmala Sitaramanji, etc. The Congress restaurant, you don't know who the head chef is. You don't know who the chef tomorrow will be. You don't know whether it's a buffet or an a la carte restaurant. As charming as you may be, as passionate as you may be in saying the BJP restaurant is bad, fence sitters who don't want to go to the BJP restaurant need to know what you're offering. You need to give them a menu. And if you don't give them a menu, the people are just going to walk to the BJP restaurant. It's as simple as that. There is no rocket science to that. Politics is essentially humanity. It's how human beings think. And we got to deal with human beings. And as Aarti rightly said in Dilip, you can't deal with human beings from an ivory tower. You got to be on the street. Yeah. Work with them and be with them 24/7. The Prime Minister may not be 24/7 amongst people, but he chooses the right people amongst people. During the Haryana election, I saw in an area called Mahendragarh, which is essentially Yadav areas, and you all will remember the Yadavs were very upset with the BJP because of the encounter that had happened in Uttar Pradesh of a Yadav guy, the encounter in the Chappal, a very famous encounter in a Chappal. And the Yadavs said, why should we vote for you in Haryana, but not, and you other us in UP. And there I saw with my own eyes Dharmendra Pradhan campaigning there, meeting the big people of the Yadav Samaj, talking to them and pulling them back. This is after the Lok Sabha elections. You all are happy about Kerala. Make no mistake, somebody in Delhi is going to become the chief minister of Kerala, and problems are going to start if you're not going to call the shots today. Who that person in Delhi is, like I said, I'm away from politics. I don't know names.
Oh, come on. That's
my God.
favorite alibi.
Yeah. He basically is egging us all on to take the names while he just
I know.
lights the fire. But we will leave that tantalizing teaser for the next program. Otherwise, what's the fun to give away all the stories on this show? Thanks, guys. This has been a really interesting conversation. I think we have to say the bottom line is this. Politics, especially when you're dealing with a behemoth like the BJP, is not about sound bites and photo ops. They make for great content. They keep us busy. And then everybody forgets it and moves on. What's your story? And are you prepared to work to rebuild your organization and work 24/7? This might be, as I was saying earlier, a good time to not take a December end break when your party is dealing with the issues it is. But alas, that is something I think the Congress leadership does not agree with. So we leave it there. All of you have a great weekend because you can afford that break. Tehseen, Dilip, Sugata and Aarti, thank you so much and see you all soon. Bye-bye.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.